Hey guys, Sethley here, back with another SquadCast podcast. You guys have probably noticed we haven't made one in a while, but it's all good now. We're back. We're done with the break. We're going to be posting podcasts, new ones every single week from now on. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. I mean, there's been so much Season 7 content. We got a lot to talk about, but of course, I am joined with the homies, Jay, Miles, and iLoot Games. Unfortunately, Quantum FT could not make it for this podcast, but he should be on the next one, so don't worry about that. But let's go ahead and get right into the stuff. Honestly, I completely forgot about the stuff I really usually have to say in a podcast because I haven't done this in so long. But if you are new to the channel or haven't subscribed, make sure to hit that sub button. We're almost at 10k subs, and we're going to be having a lot of content coming out throughout this season, so you don't want to miss out. Make sure to hit that sub button and drop a like if you do enjoy these podcasts and want to see more of them. And if you guys do remember, it's been a while, but we always do a question in our podcast. Unfortunately, it's been a while since our last one, so we'll have to wait on that one. But make sure to comment down below with the hashtag question, asking us a question you want to hear us answer, and we will pick out a few for the next podcast, and we'll go ahead and shout you guys out and give our opinions. So make sure to comment down below what you guys want to ask us, but let's get into it. So Horizon, obviously, I would say is second, if not the most new thing coming out and big thing coming out in Season 7, obviously second to the new map. But I want to hear what you guys think about Horizon's abilities, since we have seen them in the trailer now and we've seen actual gameplay. How do you think she's going to stack up against the rest of the legends?
So I think Horizon is obviously a great addition to Apex. She's something new, and I don't feel like her kit is really similar to anything we've seen in Apex so far. So I think this is a really good dynamic kit. Also, I think with Horizon, the hype's definitely not behind her like it was with Revenant. So I would definitely say the hype is not there for her that much. I think the hype is mostly around the new map. But I do think that Horizon, in my opinion, from the gameplay that I've seen, she looks like she will probably be one of the better legends off launch. Probably better than Loba, in my opinion. Rampart was okay, but I think Revenant also was a huge letdown off the start of the game. So I think Horizon's looking to be a better legend off the start, a really strong kit. And I really like her abilities as well. I'm not sure how that the spacewalk is actually going to feel, but I know the concept around it sounds really pleasing and really nice. Also, I think getting the high ground is going to be really crucial with her tactical ability, and I'm glad that it's not. I'm glad it's her tactical is not slow and methodical. Like, it's not something you have to kind of walk on and stay on straight. You can kind of get these weird launch pad effects and get high ground really quick and kind of go diagonal rather than having to go straight up.
Yeah,
so exactly. I really like that with her kit as well. So I think Horizon is a pretty decent legend. I really think that she's going to be a good balance for the game and probably match up
I
with
hope
the legends.
so. I mean,
I think she's going to match up with the legends better off the start than all the other legends were, especially like Revenant. Like I said, off the start, he just wasn't that strong, especially Loba as well. So I think Horizon's on track to be a really good season starter legend.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that, just like you said, I think the hype's not really there to get us all excited about her, but it could just be that it's compared to the excitement for the new map, because we all just wanted a new map so bad.
Good point, yeah.
And I think that her ultimate ability is really unique in a sense that it can be used offensively and defensively. And the fact that, we had some examples where they said, you could set it in a room and it really deters people from coming in after you because they know they're going to be sucked into it. So they have to really, think twice before they come rush you with it. Or of course you can throw it at a team and really screw up, them using their high grounds or wherever they're doing. So I think that to see the gameplay that's going to come out of it is going to be a lot of fun. I also like that it's like a jump pad, but it's with Octane, the jump pad's his ultimate, so the tactical for her is just a tactical, whereas Octane, it is his ultimate.
Honestly, I didn't think about that. It's a little disrespectful to Octane.
Right? So basically she has an Octane jump pad as her tactical, so it's much more efficient. It works better that way. And I think it's going to be an exciting character to watch and play.
Yeah, I mean, even her tactical can be used more for like aggressive plays, not just defense or being able to get away from people like Octane's jump pad. You can actually throw it on people, shoot them up in the air, and they're basically sitting ducks. I mean, you can't really maneuver much in air besides crouching and strafing slightly, I guess. Unless, is it gonna make you? It's not gonna make you fly out like an airdrop, right? Or a jump tower. I mean, it's not gonna shoot you out. It just launches you in the air, right?
Yeah, it's just
right.
That's what I thought. So I feel like it's honestly going to be used more aggressively than it will be like for just to be like Horizon jumping up to the top of a building. You know what I mean? At least I hope so.
Mainly what I've seen from the early gameplay trailers are people usually like pushing up on a team and they'll throw it on top of a truck, throw it on top of a house in order to not necessarily just get the high ground, but kind of launch over and make it awkward for their opponents to shoot them out of the sky. And but like you said, using it as an aggressive play, like using it to land on top of them and where they're really not expecting it. I haven't really seen people say, oh, we got to bail, jump on the on my tactical or whatever. Like, you don't really see that with the early gameplay releases that we've seen. It's usually been getting on top of a building before we rotate, or throwing it on a team to shoot them out of the sky, or throwing it down so that we can fight this team right now.
So I have a question about her ultimate. So you said loot, like setting it up around a corner, waiting for people, and they'll be scared to enter the room because they know it's there. Now I'm kind of curious. I'm looking at the patch notes right now. I don't see any cooldowns or limits to the time of her black hole. Do you know anything about that? Like, how long will that last once you place it?
Actually, I don't know what the time is. Miles, did you see that in the video, or because I don't recall?
No, I haven't seen it, but I did see some really weird, interesting, like not mechanics, but plays that you'll be able to play with the tactical. Is I saw people like throwing grenades. Like, I guess the black hole sucks grenades as well. Like, not just
I think so. I mean, it's a black hole, so probably sucks.
So it's not just like
everything.
people. It's not pulling people like just in. It's also like all attack, or everything that you're throwing out there is also getting pulled into it. So I think that's going to play a huge effect, but not just on like not as in a trophy system like with Watson. Like, you throw a grenade and it's useless. Imagine if you throw a grenade, I don't really know, like, what if it's an actual frag and maybe it's rolled quite some time and then it pulls a player as well and it pulls them on top of the grenade for kills. That could be some plays that you might see people do in the future as well. Say if they decide to use her in ALGS or something, and maybe throwing it on a squad, pulling them all in on top of a frag grenade and doing a lot of damage. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just to point some things out about the ultimate, it can be negated by Watson's ultimate, so it does block the gravitational effect of it.
Wow.
Yeah, so it gives a little buff to Watson in that sense. And then the other thing is too, if you throw it outside of a building and there's doors on the building, it will take the doors off and pull people out.
Oh, honestly, I didn't even think about that. I've heard they really didn't describe it much in the patch notes. Literally, I have it right here. It says, deploy Newt to create a micro black hole that sucks in nearby legends. And that's all they said.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah.
So, but I've heard the closer you get to it, the stronger it pulls you in. So maybe if you're like on the outskirts of the AoE, of the area of effect, then you might be able to like grapple out and run out before you get pulled in, which is going to be interesting to be able to counter an ultimate because, I don't know. It's just going to have a different play between the legends. I'm excited to see how she actually matches up against all of the other characters because personally, I feel like, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but Rampart literally, like, dude, you mentioned Revenant being disappointing. I can't even, like, I feel like Rampart was extremely disappointing, at least in my opinion. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Because I just don't want Horizon to be the same way Rampart was. Even though they had like a great like setup in teases and all of that, I just didn't like how powerful she was. She's not powerful enough. She clearly needed buffs right off the bat, at least in my opinion.
Well, I think it's a conversation we have every season, and
Facts.
kind of unfortunate because I feel like this is square one. This is like the first thing you learn. Well, not the first thing you learn. I'm sure there's obviously other things, but this is a very basic need that Apex Legends has, and that is when you market a new legend, that legend needs to be, in my opinion, widely used amongst the players that play it. They cannot be a failure, because if they're a letdown because you're scared that it's going to be overpowered, I feel like you're still going to benefit in the long run more of it being overpowered and widely used than underpowered and no one's using it, because then you just lose all of that hype around that legend. Revenant was probably the worst case scenario. You have the most hype around a legend we've ever seen. People were so excited to use Revenant, and just how underwhelming Revenant was, and Rampart even the same way, just caused it to be such a letdown for, I feel like, not just the legend themselves, but the season. It kind of set a bad tone for the season. When people aren't excited to use the new legend as soon as they drop, they really just kind of feel like, oh, they get this mentality, oh, this season sucks. Oh, this season's a letdown. And in reality, it might not be the case, but that's what they're taking from it, because one of the biggest parts of the new aspect of a new legend is a letdown itself. And I feel like it leaves a bad taste in players' mouth. And that's something that, unfortunately, we've been dealing with too many seasons. So I hope they maybe this time learn their lesson.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, at least we can say they brought Revenant back. I mean, Revenant is definitely been one of the most, like, I mean, he was very powerful for a while with his buffs recently for the death totem, and I still think he is very useful in certain situations. So I've liked how they definitely have brought him back from being not useful at all in the beginning when he was first released. He's definitely a lot more useful and viable within the game. But I want to get past that. Let's get onto the really interesting stuff, I think, at least personally, because I never thought in my life, in my wildest dreams, Apex would have vehicles. Personally, I thought the maps were too small. There are jump towers everywhere. People have pretty good movement. There's not a huge need for vehicles, yet we do have the Trident hover car coming out in Season 7. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, I think that it's definitely caught us off guard, but from what we've seen with early gameplay releases, they are not, and obviously word of mouth by the people that play tested it was, they're nothing what you expect them to be. They're nowhere near close of what you think that they're going to be. Everyone has that PUBG mentality, H1Z1 mentality, and from what I've heard, it's nothing like that at all. The animation to get out of the Trident vehicle is extremely slow, to where it doesn't feel like H1 where you can just pop out the car, one pump someone, get back in and leave. The animation almost is, if you're pulling up on a good player, you're going to probably get one clip by an R9 by the time you even get out. I'm not sure exactly how the vehicles work. I know obviously you can shoot the vehicles and deal equal amount of damage amongst all three players, but can you actually hit targets while they're on the vehicle?
Yes, you can.
I'm not sure.
You can target
Okay, you
one
can.
person. If you like
Okay.
Kraber them specifically, then it'll just hit them.
Okay. So in my opinion, the fact that you can deal a lot of damage equally, that is going to make it, I feel like it's going to put less incentive on people thinking that they can just third party run around and just ruin everyone's game. Especially, like I said, with the animation, everyone talks about how slow the animation is to get out, and that you can just get lit up so fast. It's not the instantaneous H1Z1 kind of feel. So I feel like it's weird. It's definitely going to be different. It's going to be something to adapt with. But I think in the long term, I think they've done it well. I think that they did it right. If
Don't speak too soon. Sheesh. Scaring me there.
If they're going to add vehicles, I think they did it the way that they should have done it.
I feel you there, but like, it also makes me think we haven't really seen the full scale of what Olympus actually is, because I've heard it's bigger than any map we've had. It's bigger than World's Edge and Kings Canyon, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if you guys know, or Loot or Miles, you guys know, but I think Olympus is going to be a bigger map, which is probably one of the reasons, obviously, they have a vehicle. So I'm just curious as to how often they'll be useful within the game. Like, just like you were saying, Miles, like, are they going to hinder your ability to, like, get away from shots when you can't? So that's going to be tough. But also, do we even know how many jump towers there are across the map? So that's going to be another factor, because they said so many times within the patch notes, you're going to have, like, new ways to traverse the map. Like, with even the phase, I forget what it's called, I don't know, it doesn't matter, the phase shift portal thing that is basically across the entire map, that
the Phage Runner.
Yeah, there you go. That thing, that's going to take you really far across the map, and that's built into it. So it's got to be there's a reason for it to be there. So it really makes me think you're going to need it to be able to get away from the rings, but also they did just decrease the ring damage as well. So they could have done that because of Olympus, right?
Yeah, I think so for sure. But I think another good point, like you said, was the amount of balloon towers that are on the map that we don't know yet could obviously play a huge factor into how people are rotating. I think when I saw the ring damages that were decreased, I think that it's those in my mind play a much bigger factor, because you always see when teams are struggling in zone, it always a lot of times it can come down to one more second needed to pop that syringe to save your team. So I think that the ring damage decreasing is probably twice as big of an impact on the game than what you see it as. I think that'll have a much more impact as far as like the way people rotate and how slow they rotate and how methodical they play. You're going to see a lot more teams now, because of those ring damage reductions, rotating through zone. So instead of, just waiting out on the ring of the zone, a lot of teams are going to say, hey, let's go around this mountain. Let's go all the way back in the zone and come out and get better positioning, because they're going to have the free range to do that. And obviously, you have the risk with vehicles, and people always say I say vehicles wrong, and vehicles, I don't know. But anyways, you have like the audio, I'm assuming, from them, so people can hear your rotations. And I feel like by doing this, you give more options. So you don't have to necessarily use a vehicle if you don't have one. You don't have to use a balloon tower if you don't have one. You can stay in the zone and just walk it out. And even if you're going to be a little bit slower, you're not going to be punished for it because of the ring zone reductions.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't expect them to make any changes to the ring at all. I don't know about you guys, but it was pretty obvious they were going to change the Evo Shield. They had mentioned it before previously on Reddit, and I think it was a good change, increasing the damage it takes to get to red. I think it was a little bit too easy, so I'm happy about that. But as for me, the ring changes were kind of out of nowhere. But talking about it right now, I mean, obviously it's starting to make sense to me, obviously, for the map. So I think it's going to be really fun with the new vehicles. I think it's going to change a lot of how the game actually feels. I feel like, I don't know, I genuinely don't really know what else to say because I haven't experienced it yet, but I sure am excited to. But also some things I did want to talk about was, obviously we're going to be getting a new battle pass in season 7, and I saw 2 main skins that I saw a lot of people commenting about and that stood out to a lot of people, and that was obviously the Octane and Wraith skin. And Wraith is basically wearing a tuxedo, and I don't know how to describe how Octane looks, but I saw so many mixed opinions on those 2 skins. Let's hear your opinions. Let's hear.
I was gonna say he just looks hot. No. You know what? I think the Octane skin looks awesome. I think it gives more personality to him. It brings him more to life. Showing his hair, and then he's showing his stomach. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it's just cool to have skins that bring a lot of character out. I don't really like the Wraith one. I think it's I don't know, maybe too safe or something. It's a little weird. Like it's what is it, like a secretary, like an old secretary look or something.
I honestly don't even know how to describe it because you don't see it very often. So, but at least I think that's creative with it. I mean, there are so many different versions of creative ways to do skins throughout every game there is right now. So it's kind of hard to pick them out and say like, yeah, that one is amazing. But overall, Apex has always been pretty consistent with their skins, which I think is nice. But I mean, I do think it would be nice to see in the future. I guess we don't know. Actually, we do know exactly what the Season 7 Battle Pass is going to be like. But I'd like to see something added new to the Battle Pass, maybe for Season 8 or like for an event. I think we've seen previously in a dev stream recently, there was like ground emotes on the screen in the video, and they didn't talk about it at all. So that could be something that they would add to a future Battle Pass, which might make it more interesting. Add even a new aspect for free cosmetics for people who don't even have the Battle Pass, because I know there are definitely some people like that. But some other
would you guys be cool with the emotes coming to the game?
That's a great question. Now, see, we have the new vehicle, and that makes you go third person while you're driving. Would the emotes make you go third person? Because that changes everything. Like if it changes your perspective, then I don't know how to feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I personally would like ground emotes just for the sole purpose of new content, like just something new, something different to do. I thought skydive emotes in season 2 were such an underrated feature that was added because it was so unique to Apex. It was
Yeah,
something
exactly.
cool that no one else had, you've never seen before. And like now, I really like I never thought at the time that I would actually have preferences of skydiving emotes, but now I really like love to watch my Pathfinder one because like just like you have a beat to it that's really cool. I love the lifeline one because it's like the coolest backflip twist I've ever seen. So it's like like I actually do enjoy the skydiving emote. So I hope that when Apex adds them, that they're not going to do like you saw with Fortnite, just like a bunch of crazy random dances. I hope that they,
Yeah.
I hope they don't flood a bunch of ground emotes like just because they want a mass production of them. I hope that they're really cool, well thought out, probably like lore related, maybe even emotes that have a lot of meaning and that are a lot of fun to actually use. Maybe you can even do some like trolling videos with them or something. So I would like to see them come into the game because you know it's not going to hurt to have some more features.
Yeah, I just want them to be able to troll, really. I think it's nice to be able to flex on
You
someone.
you would.
Yeah, that's the only reason I want them.
That's pretty funny. But honestly, yeah, any way to add cosmetics into the game as long as it's not negatively affecting how the game is actually played, like pay to win skins, then I think we're going to be fine. And I think it could always benefit the game. But we have had previously, like, kind of pay to win skins with the iron sights of certain legendary weapons, and that really doesn't matter too much. So I don't think we'll have too much of a problem if they end up doing ground emotes correctly. But something else we've also seen in a dev stream teased recently, I want Loot to actually talk about this because I saw you definitely were the first one to notice this, and I found out from you. So it was about the Christmas event, I think, right?
Yeah, so we saw that some of the devs were playing the Christmas LTM, and it just showed that they had recently been playing it. Now, obviously, we got recycled Halloween LTM, and I think what is most likely going to happen is we're going to get a recycled one for Christmas. However, this is a recycled one that everyone wants to come back because that was a lot of people's favorite one. It's completely different. You get to drop in right away and fight. So I look forward to it a lot. I hope they make big modifications to it though, so it doesn't feel as it doesn't feel stale. But even if they didn't, I'd be happy they bring it back. Just please bring the LTM back and don't recolor Santa. Give new skins. We don't want
Yeah.
a green Santa or something. Let's get some new skins. I don't like spending a bunch of money on it, but if they're really good art, then it's worth it to me,
True. Absolutely. And I think that with this new game mode, I think the reason people love it so much, and this kind of leads into another kind of topic that we had, was that a Respawn developer was actually saying that there's a lot of things for the future of Apex, and that's going to make, end quote, that he said, that was going to make a lot of Titanfall players really excited. And with the new Winter Express mode, the reason I love the game mode so much is because it is not just a break from BR. It's not just a twist on BR. It's literally your respawn deathmatch kind of games. But it's with the gunplay and engine of Apex. So I really love because it's kind of like Hardpoint, but it's also Capture the Train. So, but it's like similar to a Hardpoint headquarters kind of game style. I would love to see more permanent modes like this for Apex because I think you're going to, especially now that crossplay is here, you have the mass majority or production of all of these players coming in, so you're not having to worry too much about queue times. Obviously, besides PC players, but they have kind of touched on that as well, talking about in the future that console players would be able to opt into PC games since a lot of people have been asking to do that. Instead of having to actually invite a PC player on your team in order to get into those PC lobbies. So these kind of game modes, I think, are going to be great in the future of Apex if they do decide to bring them in. I think it's going to attract, like you have your Call of Duty, you have a lot of people that play Warzone and you have a lot of people that play your multiplayer games. And I think this is going to attract all of the Titanfall players that want a Titanfall 3 or maybe that love Titanfall 2 and just play Apex because it's the new game and they feel obligated to. And then you're also going to have all of your players that really love Battle Royale and love Apex for what it was originally was. So I think that this is going to be, hopefully, the fact that they're bringing Winter Express back, maybe a potential update in the future to get more deathmatch type permanent modes.
Yeah, I would really enjoy that.
I mean, it's as simple as a permanent mode like that is great anytime just to warm up to play a real game, to like hop into ranked, just hop into a quick Winter Express, respawn, just get your aim ready for the game. Wow, that rhymed. That was kind of weird. But I mean, obviously we have the firing range to do that, but it's just not the same as having a TDM type LTM.
Exactly.
But that also makes me think about now we don't know exactly what they're going to be doing with the Winter Express. As of right now, it was literally just a piece of text on the UI of the game in the lobby in a dev stream, and they didn't even say anything about it. So we don't know if they're going to change anything. But what we do know is that we are going to be getting a new Olympus preview LTM, is what is called, with Season 7, and we'll have it for a week. And if you guys didn't see any of our videos of the patch notes or anything like that, it's where 30 legends drop into the map on Olympus, the new map, and you can roam the map and learn the areas, and you have 3 runs on the map, and you can practice and learn everything, and then the match ends. That's pretty much all I know about it. I don't think there's friendly fire. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Do you know?
No, there's
no friendly fire.
There's no weapon damage, I don't think.
Yeah, okay. So
you can't damage each other.
It's basically just like a creative mode and
exploration mode.
Yeah, exploration mode is probably better. You're right. You can't like fly around or anything, but it's gonna be nice to learn the secrets of the new map. I think that's probably one of the reasons they're having this week-long LTM right at the start of Season 7, is just so people can appreciate how much work they put into this map and how big it is and how much detail there is. And I mean, they've been working on it for literally seasons and seasons, for a very long time, way before we even knew about it. So I'm definitely excited we're going to have the opportunity to like actually appreciate it once we do get the new map. But I also think that this LTM could mean something else, like the future of custom games, private matches, custom lobbies. What do you guys think about that?
Theater mode. That's what I want.
I didn't even think about that, man. Wow, I'm missing out. Yeah.
I thought that with this, people would have, especially you have incredible editors like Moki Sniper, that I've seen him do this effect where he can actually make a cinematic like clip and like remove the HUD, and not doing the zoom in stuff. Like he actually, like through editing software, removes the HUD and it looks so natural. I have no idea how he does it, but it's really, really good. And I feel like a lot of people are probably going to be doing that, because you still have your people doing the trick shots, trying to get the montage clips, whatever. So I feel like it's really difficult for players to get those cinematic shots, because you have to go in, ruin your KD in order to get the shots that you want. So this exploration map is going to be probably easier for them to get those shots, but I think obviously it could open the gateway in the future for, some discussions of spectator modes or theater modes, and being able to go back and maybe watch your replays, or maybe just being able to go into a free play map and just use a camera. All kind of different aspects that you can take it. But I definitely love this idea of an LTM. Hopefully they use that as a more permanent mode for things like spectator and customs, like we said.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me think that they definitely have been testing around with modes like that for a while, and they probably have done stuff we don't even know about, and that they're probably working on right now. So it makes me excited about the future, even though like it feels like there's not too much you can be excited for, since we got a new map, we got a new legend, we got crossplay, all that is coming Season 7. I mean, we already have crossplay, but there is obviously stuff that they are still working on, and they have more content planned for seasons and seasons. So I'm really excited about that. But I mean, this patch we have right here is a lot of content itself. I mean, the patch notes we got for Season 7 had so many different changes to the legends. I mean, literally Bangalore, Caustic, Mirage, Octane, Watson, Loba, Rampart, Pathfinder, and that's it. That's a lot of the characters. But the main ones that I saw people talking about were Caustic and Octane and Pathfinder, as well as I saw a lot of people talking about Loba, just because Loba hasn't been very powerful, as well as Rampart. But the main ones I want to focus on, at least at first, I want to hear your guys' opinions on Caustic, because Caustic is pretty much like absolutely renowned in the Apex Legends community as literally, like, I mean, being a toxic character if you play him. Like, he's just really good, and I don't know what to say because I don't main him, but they made some changes, so let's see what his buff actually is, or it's a nerf. I'm not really too sure, Let's see. Legends no longer get a blurred vision effect while in the gas. So that is really good. However, damage has been updated from 4 to 10 ticks of damage to 6 to 12 ticks of damage. So I don't know about you guys, but I personally didn't think he needed a damage buff. But they gave him one, I guess.
I think it's because the gas obviously favors both teams. So you have his own teammates benefiting from not being blind, and then you also have the enemy team being benefited from not being blind. So obviously you have to make up for that slight change of the enemies being able to see through the gas by making it do a little bit more damage. I don't think the damage is very significant. Obviously, it's just a few more health ticks. But I think that this is a change I'm personally happy about because I just never understood why you would blur the vision. Like it doesn't make sense. Like I can understand the slow effect because it's like you purposely walked into the gas, but at least let me defend myself. And I'm already at a slow disadvantage. At least let me fight fairly while at the slow advantage. And if someone can melt me because I'm going slow, then let it be. But don't let them melt me and hinder me from being able to shoot back because of my vision is blurred from the gas. So I'm glad that they did this. I think this is like a really good change. But I think Caustic mains obviously speak for themselves. They're incredible players. Caustic is a very difficult legend to master, in my opinion. Probably one of the hardest to master. He requires a lot of skill, a lot of thought processing, in order to make the right decision.
Definitely.
So I think that Caustic mains are definitely needed to be respected if they're not already. And he's already being used in ALGS tremendously. So I think you're going to see more of it. And I think he provides especially now that the gas doesn't blur you. I think honestly, this might be weird, but I honestly think that his kit and his playstyle is kind of healthy for the competitive scene because it requires a certain type of methodical play style.
You can like zone different teams out.
You can kind of play buildings a certain way. I don't know if they're trying to go for that Fortnite kind of World Cup feel where people were playing certain named locations, certain buildings. Maybe they're trying to go for that because it kind of it requires people to stay distanced. But I'm not sure. But I do think that his kit is pretty healthy for Apex competitive. I also think Bangalore has the best competitive kit. Like not saying that she's good for competitive, but I'm saying I wish that the meta would have been built around Bangalore because I feel like her kit is very neutral and very a natural FPS. But I don't think Bangalore and Caustic obviously go that well with each other. But I do like the buff for Caustic.
Yeah, honestly, I was just happy to see anything happen to Bangalore. Like, I swear, man, I could just be me. Maybe I've missed something, but they haven't changed anything with Bangalore. Ever. Have they? Like, genuinely, they haven't changed anything, I think, since her passive speed a while back.
They've slightly changed her...
Smoke, right?
Yeah. No, they slightly changed her ultimate, like, I think how fast that comes down or, like, the slight damage in season 2 or something, but it was nothing that ever really made you understand a difference.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least this time, if you guys didn't know, the buff she's getting is the time it takes for her explosion, aka her ultimate Rolling Thunder. The time it takes for it to come down and explode has been reduced from 8 seconds to 6 seconds. Now, that may not seem like a lot, but I think it'll definitely be a noticeable difference, especially since I've always found that Bangalore's ultimate has been extremely easy to avoid. So I know there's definitely a lot of Bangalore mains out there that are happy about that. But speaking about not crazy, but just devoted mains is Octane. So Octane actually got another buff in this, or is going to be getting another buff in season 7, and that is that they just doubled his healing rate from 0.5 health per second to 1 health per second. So his passive has been increased, which is pretty good in my opinion. However, I don't really have too much of a say in this since I don't play Octane a lot, so I'd like to hear your guys' opinions. I know there's a lot of people that are going to comment about this.
Yeah,
well, I think that
on this, but I have a lot of fans that love Octane, so I know Luke does too.
Yeah, dude, Octane fans are so hardcore.
Oh yeah, mad respect to him, mad respect.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it. You're a different kind of player. You want to get in there, you want to go fast, you want to make the games go quick, and I completely understand that. He is a lot of fun to play. Octane, however, has a very low win rate as a team. 1v1, the devs say he's great, and it's still the same thing. Even surprisingly, after adding his double jump, it hasn't helped the team that much. I don't know how. I thought that would probably bring the team win rate up, but it hasn't. And the passive healing faster is definitely going to help him as a 1v1 character, but it's still not going to help his team aspect. He's, until we get a triple jump, he's just not going to be good.
Oh wow, that's a huge statement.
I think the 1v1 ratios are good, and the like you said, and the win rates are low because obviously the Octanes are the carries of the team. They're always trying to pick up the slack that their team's giving them. So I think obviously you have I've never really had the Octane.
The Octane's usually the best player. Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm saying they're not cocky, but maybe that's. I'm not saying that they are the best player, but I'm saying maybe that's the case. Maybe the Octanes are disrespected, and that their teammates aren't playing around them like they should be.
Well, sometimes, I mean, I don't really understand what you're saying, but I was just thinking like the fact that he is purely a solo based kit player abilities wise. I think that can be good in some aspects, though. Learning to be aggressive in certain situations in the right plays is absolutely necessary. I mean, personally, like how I've always gotten good at games was just push everybody, especially with like Fortnite and Apex. Always dropped Tilted Towers and Skull Town off the bat just to get really good at that. So that he definitely is a good character in that sense to just become a more skilled player. However, yeah, you guys are probably right about the team aspect of that. However, we did get some changes to the one, the only Pathfinder as well. So I do want to hear you guys' opinions on that because I didn't expect them to do so much. They not only changed his grapple, but they also changed his hitbox.
Yeah, I'm obviously excited about the grapple fix for Pathfinder, considering I love Pathfinder, and he's probably, I would say he's still my main. I have more kills with Lifeline, but I would still say Pathfinder's my main. I don't really consider the grapple buff that much of a buff rather than just a fix. I do know that the Respawn developer that was in charge of Pathfinder responded to Moki saying that it never was meant to be a buff to begin with the first time. And obviously,
and it wasn't a buff though, like because the win rate didn't increase with the most recent one,
right? Well, I'm saying like it was like naturally already like 30 something seconds, and then they tried to make it to where it only goes based off your distance, and then it really didn't work. Like it sounded like a buff based off of that. Like, oh, if you
good idea in concept, but hard to implement.
Like that. So they obviously changed that. You have to go a really far distance in order to get that max cooldown anyways now. And so I'm happy about that. I'm also happy about the max cooldown. Is the max cooldown less? I thought.
Yeah, it's 30 seconds instead of 35, as well as you can travel 2 times the distance in length. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So
from 300 to 500. So
yeah. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. The hitbox, I saw it, but honestly, it doesn't look like drastically different. We're not talking season 1 to season 2 hitbox changes. They're not that massive. Not massive. They're not that massive from when you had like this huge box, and then you had like the toothpick hitbox that he had, and it was like impossible to hit. So his hitbox has changed a lot over the seasons. And this is nowhere near as drastic as those. I think this is a minor hitbox change, in my opinion. I think, obviously, the grapple change, though, was a huge plus.
Yeah, I personally love Pathfinder, and I don't really want to speak too much on it just because there's a lot of different aspects that have been changed with his kit recently and just the way he feels. And he's stayed pretty consistent throughout that, so I don't want to jinx it or anything, but I'm excited to try him out in Season 7 since I pretty much main Lifeline Pathfinder and honestly Bloodhound now, since Bloodhound, they've gotten really good with the amount of buffs they've recently received with the recent patches. However, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they got any changes with, or are going to get any changes with Season 7. So it looks like they've got Bloodhound right where they want them, which is good to see because they started out as one of the worst characters in the game just based on skill. So I'm glad that one of my favorite heirlooms is actually, I use it a lot now, which is great. I love that heirloom so much. The axe is amazing, and I love their abilities as well. It's just super fun to be able to basically wall hack, and it's actually not hacking at all. I personally have never cheated in any game, so that's fun about that. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the podcast here. I feel like we probably could talk about all the stuff that's coming in season 7 for a lot longer, but it is our first podcast back in a while, and it is a little bit late. But if you guys did enjoy this podcast and you want to see more of them, at least once a week we will be having one out from now on for you guys. So make sure to hit that like button if you guys want to see more, and don't forget to subscribe. Help us hit that 10,000 subscriber mark on this channel. That would be absolutely amazing. It's the best way to support us, as well as check out all of our individual channels. It's been your boy Seth Lee. Obviously, I loot games, J Miles, and unfortunately, Quantum if he wasn't here for this one, but he should be back next time. And I think that's it, guys. So yeah, it's been your boys, the SquadCast, and we out.
Peace. Later.